What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Crash Bash. Yes, that's right. It's that time of the year, which literally could be a yearly thing. Look, I got to take advantage of this moment. There's no way I can go with a brand new Crash game, right? The first one in many, many years, and a really, really good one, right? There's no way I can let this moment pass without talking about my favorite Crash game of all time. Very polarizing, mindset, by the way. But I've done this before. I've mentioned Crash Bash, but I asked it as a question. No more questions. I'm not a question kind of guy for this video. This is a demand, okay? Activision, if you're listening, which I know you watch these videos, just kidding. I need Crash Bash. But before I get into Crash Bash, I do quickly want to say, if you guys are not yet subscribed to this channel, make sure that you do. We're getting so close to 40,000. I want to hit it this week. A lot of people that watch my videos are not actually subscribed, which is okay, but I do want to get to 40K. So please hit the subscribe button now. You can always unsub later. Hit the bell icon while you're at it. And one final thing, if you guys haven't subscribed to my second channel, I know I just keep asking for those subscriptions, but the link for that is in the description. It's called Podcast Now Plus. We're getting insanely close to 2,000 subscribers there. Would love to hit that very soon as well. As always, before I jump into this, thank you guys so much for your continued support. It really does mean a ton to me. I'm really, really grateful you guys have stuck with me for as long as you have, whether it's days, weeks, months, or years for some people, and those people, thank you a ton. So, look, Crash Bash, you've heard it before if you've been with me for, I think a year and a half. I think I made this video when Team Racing or Nitro Refueled came out last June. This game needs to happen, okay? Now, the thing is, I really do think there's a likelihood. In fact, when I was talking about, I think maybe I mentioned it in one of the videos I made of Crash 4, or when I talked about Crash 5, and people said there was a leak that could have pointed to either a Twinsanity or a Crash Bash remake being in the works. So that could actually happen. Thank you. Thank you, God Almighty, because there is a God, and He's making Crash for us. No, look, I want new Crash games, okay? In fact, that's the whole point of getting remakes in general. I've said it over and over again, and I've seen other people, by the way, and I'm not saying like I patent this, but I've seen other people talk about this, and I've been talking about it, in my opinion, I feel like I've talked about it longer, but this was the ultimate, pulse test, and I actually coined that term, okay? Don't let anybody tell you differently. This was a pulse test. The entire thing, the entire Crash thing, was a pulse test to see if people like Crash Bandicoot still. I mean, again, that's nothing new. I'm joking. I didn't actually coin it. That's a thing that remasters were doing for years. When you do a remaster, it's okay. Do people still like this brand? Do people still like this property? Can we make more? That's the whole point. In the Insane trilogy, that's what it was made for, and it worked insanely well. And you have to imagine that really, this game came out now, but this game has had to be in the works for several years. It's not like Nitro Refueled was the reason for it. It's because of the Insane trilogy. Insane trilogy worked, and then Activision got Toys for Bob, who were also doing Spyro, right, which came out in the fall of 2018. They had them do this, and it again worked very, very well. So the goal going forward is more Crash games. There's no doubt about it. We need more Crash. We don't need it every single year in terms of a new game. We don't need it every single year, but it's a weird situation. It's a good weird situation where I kind of even would compare it a little bit to Resident Evil, which is an odd comparison, right? But think about it. What do we know about what Capcom's doing? Well, Capcom said one day they woke up and they said, oh, dear God, we have Resident Evil in our portfolio. And they were like, yeah, you just realized that now. And they said, well, let's get a game out every single year. And they said, are you sure, sir? And he said, don't question me again or you're fired. That's what they're doing. You have, RE2 remake, RE3 remake. You have Resident Evil Village, which, Resident Evil 8 kind of, but not technically. And the future is going to still have, we pretty much know RE4 remake is coming. They could do a Revelations 3. They could do a lot of things. And by the way, there's been a lot of rumors that they will. That they're just going to keep coming year after. The rumor is Capcom wants to do Resident Evil every single year. Okay, they want to do a new RE game every year. And why does that work? Well, it's because they have a mix of new games, which are now good, right? With Biohazard or RE7 being the first one, and they also are bringing back classics that did work, and then they're upping them. Now, RE3 Remake, I guess, aside. So, how can Crash learn from that? Well, Crash can, because you have, right now, an honest, interesting blend, because you have Insane Trilogy, you have a Team Racing Remake, you have a brand new Crash game. So, we've already gotten the trio. If they stopped here, that would be already really good. I mean, nobody wants them to stop here, but that would be really good. Look, Crash 4 is going to sell. It's about time it's going to sell. It's going to be amazing. We're going to get a Crash 5. And they even ended it on a cliffhanger. There's just no way there is not a Crash 5, okay? So that's coming. I would probably have to give them, or we'd have to give them, I'd say 3 years until we can get that. So 2023, let's say there's a brand new Crash game. Well, there could be a Team Racing 2 somewhere in there. Honestly, I think over the next couple of years we could get a Team Racing 2, which would, again, be a brand new game, taking everything they learned from remaking the original and now doing their own thing. Now, again, that's not Toys for Bob. I get that. I'm not only talking... I mean, Activision has a lot of studios, and they could always go to even more and say, hey, do you want to make a Crash game for us? What I think is their plan, though, is to have a blend. I really do. There are more Crash games that are loved by a lot of people that if you want to kind of you'll give yourself a little bit of area of time for these new games to come out. If you have, say, a brand new Team Racing game and it comes out in 2022, and then you have a brand new Crash game that comes out in 2023, well, 2021 you're without a Crash, and I don't know if Activision can do that. So if you're Activision, you may have said a few years ago, hey, these remakes are working. What other games are part of this franchise that people, well, Crash Bash is, and for Crash Bash, in all honesty, here's the reason. I think I've said this before. Look, it's my favorite. I love the game to death. I know it was not the most loved. I know this game is not like getting 10s out of 10s from like everybody. The thing with Crash Bash is this. I think it had a real solid premise. It really, in my opinion, kind of amplified the supporting cast of Crash Bandicoot, which sometimes the stories do, but in all reality, you don't normally go to Crash games for the story. They've gotten better. I mean, if you look at Crash 4, even the story, I'd say, is one of the like shining stars of the game. So it's a game that can, kind of amplify other characters that you may want to put into future games. So that's one reason. It's not the biggest reason, but that is one reason. The biggest reason, well, I guess, okay, it's a remake, so you can always make it better. You're using the soul of what the game was, but you're obviously going to make it 10 times better looking. It's going to run better, and maybe you can fix some of the gameplay mechanics. Maybe you can take a mode out, put a new mode in. I mean, you can do, that's not a one-to-one remake, but you could absolutely do something like that. But the biggest reason is it's co-op. That's the biggest thing, is this is a game that you can do online co-op with, which, just like Team Racing, I mean, look what they did with Team Racing. Team Racing didn't have that. Now we have Nitro Refueled, which now you can play online with all these people. You can never do that before. They added that feature in. So for Crash Bash, I mean, yeah, you can play with up to 4 people. Maybe they could even expand it. I don't necessarily know how they would do that. But hey, a 4-player, you can also do the single player, which I always thought the story of Crash Bash was actually really, really cool and maybe the best one. You have the story. You could do it on your own. Maybe you can even do like a cooperative mode, which it would actually be more in-depth than what you even had for Crash 4. And then you could have a multiplayer where you just go into an online match. You could have ranking. I mean, you could think about what you could do. You could have rankings. They could do, I mean, we all know they love their skins, right? All the customizable skins. They could have skins for all these different characters that you're earning, that you're purchasing, with whatever currency, I guess, they end up deciding. But you can level up when you're doing these, these modes. If you win at one thing, you can maybe level up a little bit more. I mean, it's a really, in my opinion, it's a really solid idea, because you can do Twinsanity, you can do other games, but I think Crash Bash was, I mean, originally, it was already so off the board of all Crash games, but even now, if you put that game out, I think, yeah, I mean, it would not be the game that everybody wants. I get that. But in terms of the potential of what it could do, you're going to have the people like me who literally just won't shut up about it. You're going to have, I would say, casual Crash fans, by the way, brand new Crash fans that the Insane Trilogy, Nitro Refueled, and Crash 4 have gotten. You're going to get them that said, oh, I've never seen a game like this before. Maybe they skipped out on it, or maybe they were too young for it or whatever. I was very young, by the way, when Crash Bash came out, but I still remember it, very vividly. You're going to have all those people jump in, and it's going to be, again, a cooperative, a multiplayer kind of game with the Crash, icon with it. I think that's actually a lot of value to the brand. I think that can really help. And again, you're using what's already been done. Remakes, I think, generally do not take as much time as other games. That's up to the developer. That's up to the game. Obviously, everybody has their own timetables. But if they're looking for a game basically to be like a stopgap, like a middling point between now and their next new game, I think that's what we're getting. I just do. I think there's too many other Crash games that are already out that still could get remakes and could get a lot of love and could get a lot of sales. There's too many that are still out there, including Crash Bash, that I don't think Activision would just say, nah, we're done with that. We're only going to do new games. No, I mean, look, Crash is a moneymaker. Crash is back and bigger than ever. I surely do believe that, by the way. You have a new game. You've had some remakes. You can have another team racing, like I said, a brand new. You can keep the racing game genre going. That's one division. You could have a brand new Crash game division going, and then you could have, like what we have with, It's About Time. What we have with the Insane Trilogy. You can have that, and then you can have another team that just does the remake. So I really do think this is a possibility. And again, no more questions. I'm demanding it now. Okay, I don't normally do demands on this channel. There's no ransom. There's no nothing like that. But I do demand that we get Crash Bash. So guys, let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think we should get a Crash Bash? How do you think that would work in a time like this? Let me know. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel. Podcast now, like I said in the beginning of the video, very close to 40K. Really, really want to get there, and then I'll shut up more about it. Make sure you guys hit the bell icon. And again, my second channel is in the description below, Podcast Now Plus, if you guys can help me get that to 2,000 as well. Thank you all so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. I hope to see you all on the next video.